Here we go. Let's of course we got the Monopoly board out. We finna to go down through there. We got the coffee ready. Wait, 1 second. All right, now we got the coffee ready. Here we go. All right, let me put this into translatable conversation. All right, so here we have three. Well, in the Monopoly game, these are deeds or mortgages, or whatever you want to call it, to the property. But in this illustration, we got the house, which is going to represent the problem. That's why this house is in our vicinity. And of course, put that money back there behind it, because it's always going to come down to some money. So now let's look at this for a minute. This video is pertaining to all these weird, different names, terminologies. So this is what happens when there's really no guidelines in place, you know. In investing in real estate, there is no school officially for investing. The only school officially out there is going to be pertaining to loans or your real estate license, or, you know, along those lines. They require college. But when it comes to just making money in real estate, man, there is no book. That's why things are so confusing now. Here it is, your whole life. Wholesaling has meant going to a warehouse or some place that requires a license, and you buy the product. You invest in the product. Let's talk about that for a minute, because this video is about wholesaling and why they making up these new words and even adding words like wholesaling. Like, what the hell is that? It sounds like a hotel, but it's spelled out like a whole tail. Like, what the hell? Like you spelling out the whole tail of a lion or a whale or something. You spell it out WHOLETAIL. Who making up this? That's what I want to know. Who is in charge of making up these new words? You know, I understand my grammar is horrible, but let's just be fair. The English language is about the worst language in the world. It's changed every year, so I don't really frown on my grammar not being up to par when grammar can change shit this year. We're gonna make up a new word this year. I think like the word Google, that wasn't no real word, but now you can find it in the dictionary. It actually means looking up something. So when we talk about that, that means that we as humans, we as people, have the power of making things into reality. Even things that are not real, if enough people believe it, it becomes real. So let's not ignore that, and we're gonna break this all the way down. Now, I did say my grammar was horrible, but I didn't say I was no damn idiot. I know how to look up etymology and check for the root words, and 9 times out of 10 it's gonna go back to Latin. That's just like the main central point of all English. All right. A lot of people don't know that Spanish, where the African slaves attempt. Oh man, don't get a cat in your videos. But anyway, a lot of people don't know that Spanish was the African slaves' attempt at speaking Latin. Yeah, look it up. All right. So let's get into this now. Woo! Here we go, y'all. Your whole life, wholesaling has meant going to buy something first and sell it for a profit. You usually buy it at a warehouse at a discount, 30% to 60% or more off market value, or you can make a 30% profit. This has always been wholesaling, and some places require a license to do this, whether you're buying cars wholesale or buying houses wholesale. The key word is buy. You're buying. So now let's talk about it. Now, here's the confusion. Now I'm fist to drop some names, and you can tell them I said it. I'll talk to them live on video any time and day. When you got gurus, all right, let's look at the big picture. Let's say that I was a football player and I decided to get in real estate. I don't have to know anything about real estate to get a bunch of followers. because I got money. So if I go and make a video with my Ferrari in the background in my mansion and I tell you that you can make money in real estate with no money down, you gonna look at my car, my house, and my bank account like, all right, whatever he talking about, I'm gonna do what he doing. It's natural. It's understandable. If you see a millionaire, of course you're gonna wanna do what he's doing, say what he's saying, etc. But you're not really looking at where did he get his information from? Who taught him? You see? The money will blind you. But it's really about these right here. What are we really doing? Alright? So now let's get into real estate. There is nothing new under the sun in real estate. Real estate's been around since Jesus' time. You can go look up the story of Jacob and I can't remember his brother that had a hairy back. It's about Jacob's ladder. That story. You go in there, nigga. That was a deed. That was a deed. His mama wanted Jacob to handle the property and everything because he built an empire. And his brother Esau, I think is his name, was into hunting and he wasn't really into property. So a deed was made. You see. But Jacob's mama wasn't from the same land, so if you go check the facts on it, I believe she was from some tribe in Africa, and they didn't want. Anyway, it's a different story. But the point is it's about the deed that was involved in that story. So deeds go all the way back to in the Bible and agreements. So now let's talk about what's new under the sun. Okay, let's say that your name is Boohoo Ruhu and you're a guru in real estate, or you appear to be a guru in real estate, all right? And you decide to start your own movement, which is basically what wholesaling is. It's a movement, all right? And let's look at what these have to do with this conversation. This is going to represent purchase agreements. This is going to represent installment agreements, owner finance. And this is going to represent leases. All right. Now, in between these spaces represent assigning your interest, which means you can walk away from any one of these at any given time. Okay? Now here is the game though. If I combine these two strategies, right? Like that, and I make a name for it, it becomes reality. What does that mean? Okay, well let's do it. Here we go. This is what that means. Alright? So now you have a purchase agreement and you decide to walk away from it. You just created a strategy because you went from buying a property to making money on walking away from it. Now, if you do this enough times and the money's in between there, you can make you a YouTube video and call it what you want. In this scenario, they want to call assigning a contract wholesaling because it makes money. And whoever is representing that video is going to get all the followers. So now you have something that these two strategies come together, and this person who was ever doing it first, well, I came here first. It's like conquering a new land. Well, I discovered how to make money assigning contracts, so I'm going to put my flag here and call it wholesaling. So now this flag stands tall, and anybody who wants to do what I'm doing got to call it wholesaling. That's just the code word for it. Now, it doesn't mean it defines purchase agreements or it defines assigning contracts. It's just what I did, and I made a flag out of it. Now, somebody else want to try to make some money off of it, they can do something on this side and call it what they want, like wholesaling. Now let's move over here. Now, in my little area, that market ain't banging. I'm in an owner finance, probate, mortgage type area. I get a lot more deals by taking over mortgages and owner finance because people ain't building and flipping out here. I got people leaving town and dying and their relatives out of state. So it's a different ball game. So I'm in a owner finance world. But guess what? I know how to do this. So what I do, that's that assignment streak. I combine, I cash flow this for a year, and then I assign the contract. Okay? Now, have I planted the flag here and called it something? No, I don't do that. I don't play them games. Because you already know my grammar ain't good, and I'm not fit to get away from the basics of it. It's already, my grammar's already confusing enough to be making them new words and shit. So this right here, I get an installment agreement, I cash flow it, and then I assign it. I don't call it nothing else. I say it just like I just did. Yeah, I got this installment agreement. You can take my interest in it away. We can walk. Whoever I'm talking to, I'm gonna come down on their understanding. So if we talk in Spanish, I'm gonna translate this in Spanish. If I gotta speak milk and cookie talk or to a 4-year-old, I'm just gonna call it what it is. Hey, look, my interest in this property, I don't want it no more, or give me some money for it and I'll walk away. Whatever y'all want to say, I'm not gonna change the definition of it. I'm assigning my interest in this installment agreement. Now, if I was to combine it like these two, assigning contracts, call it a different name, then I can go on YouTube and be famous for calling it what I want. And let's say instead of calling it wholesaling, I decided to call it wholesaling and make up some weird ass spelling for it. And if enough people like the video and listen to it and it goes on for years and years, eventually you'll find that word in the dictionary. You'll find blogs on the internet. Well, Jonah, if you go on the internet and Google it, you will find wholesaling means assigning a contract. No, that's not what that means. You got to understand how Google works. When you go and Google something, you getting blog reports from people like me and you just writing their opinion on it. If you want to Google something, start with Googling the Black Law Dictionary or the etymology of words. All right, don't dumb yourself down with the computer. All right, so let's look over here. Now, here's another one. Say you decide to commercial. Everybody know commercial is based around leases, basically. So now you in the leasing business. So say you got a lease and you have an option to purchase. So we're gonna use this as the lease, and this right here is the option, the purchase agreement. This is the option to purchase. Always remember, when you're dealing with leases, you want to keep your lease and your options separated. Because if you combine them or correlate them, that's a disguised sale in the IRS. And we'll go into how the IRS do things, because that's very important to recognize. So now you have the lease and you have the option to purchase. Now, if you decide to sell your option at the beginning of your lease, that's your right. Remember, there's that divide line assigning your interest. Now, when I do that and make a couple of million off of it and make a name for it, it's gonna be like wholesaling. A bunch of people gonna follow it because why? They blinded by the money. So now, when in reality, the money really need to be at the front, because these things are irrelevant if it ain't no money involved. So what does all this mean? That means that a lot of stuff you see from these quote-unquote gurus, it's not what it looked like. You're seeing a lot of confusion, a lot of carelessness, and what's eventually leading to what you see now popping up is people requesting that investors or beginners like you and I in this world require a license. Now, I'm not technically a beginner, but in my world, you know, I'm old. So back in 2006 when I first started, don't seem that long ago to me. But some of y'all, you know, just starting last week or last month. So I don't want to go too deep, but I want you to advance. And by advancing, you gotta know what it is. You gotta know that that's the color green. If somebody tell you that's the color purple, but you looking at it, you're like, man, no, wholesaling, I mean, green has always been this color. Why does it change now? Because he say so. You gotta look at what it is. That's the only way you're gonna grow. Because you can assign more than a purchase agreement. Like I just showed you, you can assign your option, you can assign your installment, and you can assign a purchase agreement. And you're gonna run into some, just try it. Just going like, say, man, what do you call assigning your option in your lease? Oh, that's wholesaling your lease option. No, the fuck is not. Look, let me tell you something. When you say you wholesaling your contract, that means that your contract or your assignment fee is $3,000 and you giving a discount on your assignment fee. So your assignment fee just went down like $1,500 or something. You're not wholesaling your contract. You assign your contract. Now the term wholesaling, which is really what this video is supposed to be about, that's the true definition of wholesaling. Somebody bought the property first and decided to paint the interior or sweep up the floor or cut the yard and then add another $5,000 or $10,000 to it. No different than getting the car and getting the detail before you sell it. Don't overthink this.
Can they just build a wall already? Someone needs to put an end to this.
Ooh, I got peso, but give me more. You want plata o plomo like Pablo. My shooters like narcos, got plenty poles. Been chopping out bricks out in Juarez, Mexico. I dropped the top like Geronimo. Told your bitch to come hopping like Vomino. Now she with head honcho like Audio. Young rich and say